Welcome to Amira African Tales. What we're discussing today is not rumor and not online noise. This is a serious political issue with real consequences for Nigeria and beyond. If you care about Nigeria, if you care about justice, and if you care about accountability at the highest level, then you need to watch this video to the end. Before we go further, please subscribe to Amira African Tales and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss important updates like this. Now, let's get into it. Something serious is unfolding, and Nigerians need to pay attention. Not tomorrow, not later, but now. For the first time since Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to life imprisonment under circumstances many have questioned, pressure is no longer coming only from Nigerians. It is now coming from the United States of America. And that changes everything. Reports indicate that a US senator has called for a panel to examine what is being described as a possible legal error in the life imprisonment sentence handed to Nnamdi Kanu. This is not an online petition. This is not activist outrage. This is a sitting US lawmaker raising concerns about Nigeria's judicial process. When that happens, the matter is no longer internal. It becomes international. And once a case enters that space, silence stops working. Let's be honest about why this development is dangerous for Nigerian officials connected to this case, including Omotosho. Nnamdi Kanu's case has never been simple. From the circumstances of his arrest outside Nigeria, to how he was returned to the country, to the speed at which his trial concluded and resulted in a life sentence, legal experts have consistently raised red flags. These concerns were not hidden. They were raised publicly. Yet for years, they were dismissed or ignored. Why? Because when a system believes it will never be questioned, accountability becomes optional. But that assumption is now being tested. A US senator calling for a panel means something very specific. It means documentation will be requested. Timelines will be examined. Court procedures will be reviewed. And inconsistencies, if any exist, will be exposed. This is not about emotions. It is about records. And records don't lie easily. This is where Omotosho's name becomes increasingly uncomfortable in this conversation. Because if an error occurred, whether procedural, constitutional, or international, then responsibility must be traced. Someone signed documents. Someone approved decisions. Someone ignored warnings. Panels exist to answer one question: how did this happen? Was due process fully respected? Were court orders followed to the letter? Were international conventions violated? These are legal questions, not political ones. And legal questions don't respond well to silence, deflection, or authority. Now let's talk about timing, because timing matters. Nigeria is already facing growing international scrutiny over human rights, rule of law, and judicial independence. Adding a globally recognized case like Nnamdi Kanu's to that scrutiny increases pressure on the entire system. And when systems feel pressure, they protect themselves. Not by admitting fault, but by locating it. This is often how officials suddenly find themselves isolated. People who were once protected become expendable. Decisions once defended become misinterpretations. Actions once justified become procedural mistakes. This is not speculation. This is how institutions survive. Some people will say, nothing will happen. We've seen this before. That thinking ignores how international accountability actually works. International panels do not always lead to immediate punishment. They do something quieter, and far more lasting. They create records. Once something is documented internationally, it does not disappear. It follows individuals across administrations, across governments, across borders. Years later, those records resurface in visa reviews, diplomatic meetings, international partnerships, and legal proceedings. This is how consequences begin, slowly, quietly, but persistently. Travel limitations, diplomatic embarrassment, private warnings behind closed doors. These things rarely trend on social media, but they are real. Now here is the question Nigerians must ask themselves honestly. If there was truly no error in Nnamdi Kanu's life imprisonment, why is there resistance to independent scrutiny? Why were concerns raised by Nigerian lawyers ignored for years, only to be taken seriously when an American lawmaker speaks. What changed? Did the facts change, or did the audience change? Because transparency does not fear investigation. Only systems that are uncertain about their decisions do. This situation has now moved beyond Nnamdi Kanu as an individual. It has become a test case for Nigeria's justice system. It asks a very uncomfortable question. Can powerful officials make irreversible decisions without consequence until external pressure forces accountability? That question is what makes this moment dangerous. Because once international attention locks onto a case, it rarely lets go quietly. Every response is analyzed. Every silence is interpreted. Every delay raises suspicion. And at some point, explanations are demanded. Omotosho may not be in trouble today in the dramatic sense people expect. But trouble at this level does not announce itself loudly. It builds slowly. It starts with questions, then reviews, then reports. And by the time the public hears about it, the damage is already done. This is why this development matters. Not because of social media outrage. Not because of political loyalty. But because international scrutiny changes how power behaves. When the world is watching, authority becomes accountable. And silence is no longer protection. Nigerians, I want to ask you something. Do you think this investigation will actually change anything? Or will it be swept under the carpet like before? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think.